Hello everyone and welcome to this new video. In this video we will be studying about how various regional kingdoms arose in the mid when Mughal Empire was declining. Dear students, as you all can see the numerous kingdoms in India, this is the time when Mughal Empire was declining. The reasons for all these small kingdoms arising or getting independent or forming independent kingdom was the lack of Mughal administration, where we have already seen in the past that Mughal Empire was ruling almost on entire India, but after the death of Aurangzeb the administration collapsed and many kingdoms they decided to be liberated from the Mughal Empire. Now, if you can see here in your textbook, 6th standard ICSE textbook, various independent kingdoms were there, out of which Bengal, Awadh, Hyderabad, Mysore, and Maratha, Sikh, Rajput states were very strong and they formed a very strong kingdom. But as they all were not united together, it became easy for the British East India Company to took over the country India. First we will be discussing about the Marathas. The most important among them regional power was the Maratha kingdom. In fact, the Marathas were very strong and they could have easily formed an all India empire after the Mughal decline. But this could not happen. Why? Let's see. Shahu, the grandson of Shivaji, who was imprisoned by Aurangzeb, after his death, he was released. After his death, he was released, and in the war of succession, Shahu became the Maratha ruler, the Chhatrapati of Maratha, and Balaji Vishwanath, who was his chief minister, came to the throne as a Peshwa. Shahu did not manage the kingdom. In fact, he had left everything to his ministers, and Balaji Vishwanath was doing a very good job. Shahu was only for the namesake on the kingdom. Balaji Vishwanath took full advantage of the weakness of the Mughal administration and extract important concession and enhance the power and prestige of the Marathas. Means he took Maratha Empire to a great height, taking the advantages of the weakness of the Mughal Empire. Chauth and Sardesh Mukhi, which was during the time of Shivaji Maharaj, he used to take for the protection of the kingdom if any kingdom was under Maratha power. So Balaji Vishwanath took the Chauth and Sardesh Mukhi from the six provinces. Okay, six Mughal provinces in the Deccan, means the rule was of Mughal. That was the a very big important thing. The rule was of the Mughal, but for the Mughals protection, the Marathas were taking the taxes. It was also seen by 1719 Balaji Vishwanath marched to Delhi and to help the Sayyid brothers to overthrow the Mughal Emperor Farooq Siyar. Okay. Balaji Vishwanath had made Marathas a very strong and formidable power under him. After the death of Balaji Vishwanath, Bajirao I, his son, became the ruler. He was a military genius. Ruler means Peshwa. Under his bold and dynamic leadership, the Maratha kingdom was transformed into a very strong power. Major development during this time was the rise of prominent Maratha families. This was the time when the Bhosles, the Holkars, the Sindhyas, the Gaikwads, and the Peshwas divided the erstwhile Mughal provinces into sphere of influences. Means it was already the Mughal control over India, but the Marathas were having impact on the Mughal control over India. Okay, and all the Mughal empire, or which was divided into parts, and they were taken care, or you can say under the control of this Maratha families, five Marathas families. These chiefs enjoyed maximum autonomy with their respective regions. Autonomy means maximum power, you can say. The Peshwas was official head of this union of the Marathas Confederacy. Their head was Bajirao I was succeeded by his 18-year-old son Balaji Bajirao. When Shahu died, Shahu, who was a weak ruler or weak Chhatrapati, after his death, it was Maratha Empire directly came under the control of Peshwas. Peshwas became the head or the decision maker, and capital of the Maratha Empire was Pune. Balaji Bajirao continued to follow the policies of expansion. During his reign, the Maratha Empire reached to the heights of its glory. In the north, Maratha became very powerful, and they were already the power behind the Mughal throne. But it was very sad end when Marathas controlled Punjab. They came into the conflict with the Afghans, Ahmad Shah Abdali, and a major battle over Third Battle of Panipat took place, in which Ahmad Shah Abdali defeated Marathas and the Marathas' power was shattered. It was not the Marathas, neither the British East India Company who took control over India after that, but it was East India Company who took advantage of this fight. In Bengal, it was Murshid Quli Khan who liberated himself and started making his own decision. During the time of Murshid Quli Khan, the Bengal province, which was a very strong and very profitable land during the time of Mughals and during the time of East India Company also, because the land was very fertile and the seaports were very near, so trading was very easy. So because of that, Bengal was very important and rich province, you can call it. Now, Quli Khan brought stability, peace, prosperity, economic development in the kingdom. After his death, the most capable of his successor was Ali Vardi Khan. Again, he encouraged trade. He encouraged foreign traders to come in Bengal and settle. But now that became a very important decision, because British merchants were given permission in Bengal to fortify. To fortify means make fort industries, and which were surrounded by the forts in Chandarnagar, which is now Chandarnagar, and Calcutta, which is now Kolkata, respectively. But the Nawabs failed to understand the real motive of the Britishers, and the British Trading Company, they believe that the trading company could never challenge their authority, but they were wrong. We all know that the mutual rivalries in the Bengal as well, and when they failed to maintain the stability, and uh, they failed to stop the corruption in the kingdom, that led to the decline of the Mughal Empire, and the Britishers were very easily able to control the Bengal as well. When we are talking about Awadh, which was the Sadat Khan, the governor of Mughal provinces, he declared himself free. He established a very efficient administration, strong kingdom, revenue reforms, and strengthened his army. Sadat Khan was succeeded by his nephew Safdarjung, who brought stability, peace, and prosperity to Awadh. He was succeeded by his son Suja-ud-Dawla. The prolonged period of the peace and economic prosperity during this reign Nawab stimulated the growth of redefined distinct of Lucknowi culture. Lucknowi culture, which is very popular now itself for their culture of maths and some traditional things, which is related to arts, literature, and architecture, which progressed during this time. Hyderabad. Now, Hyderabad was the kingdom, or you can say it was the provinces under the Mughals, but Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jahan, he took over that and he started making his own decision, and he consolidated, means he made his position very strong by establishing efficient administrative system, removing corruption from the revenue system, promoting trade, and protecting the state and external threats. Of course, war of succession between his own son, own family members declined the Hyderabad, and again it became a soft target to the British and the French companies who took over. The Carnatic. Carnatic is a place in the modern day Karnataka and the southern part, and even that was under the control of the Nizam of Hyderabad itself. And the both Carnatic and Hyderabad became a soft target after a war of succession. Mysore, when we are talking about Mysore after the collapse of Vijayanagar Empire, a very strong ruler called as Hyder Ali, who took over, who was a first commander, and then later on his brilliant generalship and all that gave him the abilities. He rose from the rank of ordinary soldier in the Mysore army to the position of commander by sheer dint of merit determination, by very much strong, you can say, determination, courage. He wanted to achieve something big, which led him to become the very strong ruler. In 1763, he overthrew the government and established his authority over Mysore state. Under his rule, Mysore became a prosperous and powerful state and a formidable adversary of the East India Company in the south. Hyder Ali was succeeded by his son Tipu Sultan, who proved to be worthy successor. He introduced many reforms. Reforms, when we are talking about economic reforms, trading reforms, he reorganized the army, administrative machinery. He modernized the army and strengthened the economic by encouraging agriculture and modern trade in industry. He posed a most serious challenge to the rise of British power in India, but after three wars, two wars was fought by his father, and later two wars was fought by his Tipu Sultan. But Britishers were finally managed to defeat them, and they took over the control of Mysore. When we are talking about Rajputs, now even the Rajputs got liberated after the decline of Mughal Empire, but Rajputs were not united. Unfortunately, they were very powerful, but they could not organize themselves in a strong army or the strong kingdom. They could have easily made All India Empire, but as lack of unity and politics in the court, we can say that Rajput kingdom's courtroom was same like the Mughal courtroom, later Mughals courtroom, because they were not united. They kept on fighting with each other on a very small issues, and that led their mutual rivalry, jealousy with each other, and because of that they could not make the strong kingdom. Last but not the least, it was the Sikh kingdom. The Guru Gobind Singh, the 10th Guru, organized the Khalsa group, which is called as a very strong peace-loving Sikh into martial group. The invasion of Nadir Shah and Ahmad Shah Abdali, we had weakened the north, and Punjab took advantage of it and formed a very strong kingdom. The Sikhs were organized into a confederacy of 12 missals. Means it was organized into 12 groups. Each missile was governed by the chief, and Ranjit Singh, chief of one of the missile, was born leader, and he reorganized the army and reorganized the administrative skills, and which made Punjab a very strong by the end of 17th century, by the early 17th century. Okay, and it was so strong that even the Britishers were scared. Okay, so not to come into conflict with them, they signed, the Britishers and the signs a treaty with Raja Ranjit Singh, perpetual friendship, that was called as perpetual friendship with Lord Minto, the governor of East India Company, and this treaty was called as Treaty of Amritsar. Again, dear students, Treaty of Amritsar was like River Satluj was made the boundary line, and where Britishers will not interfere in the internal matters of Punjab, and Punjab will not interfere into the internal matter of the Sikh. But after the death of Raja Ranjit Singh, where again the war of succession was there in Punjab. It was found that the Britishers started interfering in the internal matters, and again, once Britishers were allowed to enter into the internal politics of any kingdom, they were successfully able to defeat that kingdom or to take care of this kingdom. Okay, Sikh kingdom to interfere, and that's what the chapter is all about. Dear students, just remember one thing: when all these independent kingdoms were very easily taken control by the East India Company, the reason behind that is they were not united, neither they had the dream to have all India empire leaving Marathas, and their internal politics and rivalries led to the downfall of their kingdom, and Britishers managed to control over entire India. The only fact when we are discussing about the exam point of view about this chapter, so only it's the easiest chapter in the history, and you can directly score a very nice marks because few things will be common. Now what are the things? Like every kingdom which rised or which rose. Now every kingdom, when it was formed by a very strong ruler. You just have to remember the names of ruler, and every kingdom managed their kingdom properly. They reorganized their army properly, they strengthened their army, and they promoted agriculture and trade, because of which their kingdom became strong. This is common for every kingdom: Hyderabad, Marathas, Rajputs, Sikh, Mysore. Okay, but and what was the downfall? The downfall, why did that kingdom become weak? After the death of the strong ruler, there was a war of succession in every kingdom, and Britishers took advantage of that. So it is easy. Only thing you have to remember the name and the kingdom. Like Bengal, it was Murshid Quli Khan and Ali Vardi Khan, the capable ruler. After that, the rulers were not capable enough, or they did not understood the proper administration. In Hyderabad, we studied about Nizamul Mulk Asaf Zaha, the ruler. The Marathas, because of the third battle of Panipat, they became weak, and Mysore, after the death of Tipu Sultan, again it was captured. So these were the reasons that the strong independent kingdom, which took advantage of declining Mughal power, they formed an independent kingdom, their own kingdom, but they could not control or enjoy that success for longer period of a time, and Britishers took over entire India. Hope this information was useful for you about this chapter. Next time, next video, we will be discussing about how Britishers became the superpower in India. Till then, goodbye.